Micah Jr. with the brand new DW News Africa.
The show that tackles the issues shaping the continent.
Now with more time to offer an in-depth look at all the trends that matter to you.
What's making the headlines and what's behind them?
We're on the streets to give you in-depth reports and insights.
DW News Africa.
Ule msimu wa 88 ndio huu. Vituo vyako bora vya ITV, Radio 1, Capital Radio na Capital Television tunakuletea ofa kabambe. Pata fursa ya kutangaza nasi kwa bei ya punguzo kabisa. Nunua matangazo manne ya sekunde 30 kwa upande wa television kwa shilingi 500 na kwa upande wa radio matangazo madogo madogo, yani casual advert manne kwa shilingi 100. Ofa hii ya msimu wa 88 pia inahusisha vipindi vya dakika 5 na 10 kwenye TV na Brand Talk kwenye radio. Kwa maelezo zaidi, wasiliana na idara ya masoko kwa simu namba 0658777144 au 0676777147. Changamkia ofa hii, kwani mwisho wake ni tarehe 15 mwezi wa 8 2021. Vigezo na masharti kuzingatiwa.
News tonight. COVID-19 vaccination drive for people above 18 years begins with provision of electronic certificates. Court rules former High DC Lengai Olitabaya and 2 accused have a case to answer. And in sports, Tanzania representatives in the CAF Confederations and CAF Champions League to know their opponents tomorrow. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Vanessa Victor. Let's start things off with the national news. The COVID-19 vaccination exercise for all groups above 18 years has officially begun at various centers for the vaccine, with the government calling on health officials to be ethical so as to implement the exercise successfully.
Ina umuhimu kwa sababu inataka kuweka watu wote wajue afya zao.
It is important because it makes people want to know their health and take precautions to fight these diseases. I have decided
katika kutafuta habari
in seeking information and informing the public, be it in the studio or outside, and that is why I decided to respond to the call and come to get vaccination.
Kitu ambacho tumekuwa tukisisitiza tunapokuja kwenye vituo,
we have been stressing when we come to the vaccination centers that let the elderly first and those with chronic diseases, and no one should be deprived of access. If you forge the certificate, we will get you. But there is a barcode which, if you scan, shows whose certificate this is.
Senior Resident Magistrate Odira Amworo of Arusha Resident Magistrate Court has ruled that the former High District Commissioner Lengai Olitabaya and 2 co-accused have a case to answer. Giving the ruling, Senior Magistrate Amworo said that due to the evidence provided by the prosecution, the accused will have a case to answer and will be able to defend themselves under oath or through witnesses, to which lawyers of the 3 accused agreed to. The case was adjourned to tomorrow, August 13th, when the accused will begin their defense. And Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa, while speaking to all regional commissioners in the country and their defense and security committees via video conference, has directed them to oversee development projects and crop production based on their geographical locations.
Na kule wilayani maafisa kilimo wahusishwe kwenye miradi ya umwagiliaji. Ingawa tumeunda tume ya umwagiliaji pekee,
Agricultural officers should be involved in irrigation projects, although we have created an irrigation commission only. But we need agricultural officers who are not employees of the commission or TAMISEMI. They must make sure that this project works, and to ensure that farmers cultivate without relying on rain, irrigation projects should be managed effectively.
Kwa hiyo miradi ya umwagiliaji nayo isimamiwe.
And the Inspector General of Police, IGP Simon Siro, while opening a surgeon's training course at the Police Academy in Zanzibar, has said that the police force will adhere to the country's laws and constitution when implementing their duties, but will take action against any leader or institution that aims to disrupt peace in the country.
Sasa hatuwezi kuruhusu kikundi cha watu wachache, wanasiasa, viongozi wa dini, walete uvunjifu wa amani katika nchi yetu. Ndichoelekeza.
Our job is to rule the law. Now we cannot allow a little group of politicians or religious leaders to break our country. We will deal with them according to our laws, so that the law can take its course. We cannot allow a few people to destroy our country.
The Oman ambassador to Tanzania, Ali bin Abdullah bin Salim Al Mahroui, has commended the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan, for her leadership and thanked the government for the cooperation he received while implementing his duties in the country. Ambassador Ali bin Abdullah bin Salim Al Mahroui said this in a meeting with President Samia Suluhu Hassan at State House in Chamwino, Dodoma.
Kwanza nitakutoa shukrani ya dhati kwa Mheshimiwa Rais kumpokea mia na kuniaga. Tulizungumza mambo ya kawaida tu.
First of all, I would like to thank President Samia Suluhu Hassan for welcoming me well. We have just talked about ordinary things between relations in Tanzania and Oman and how we can work together. Thank you very much. I thank all the people who helped me until I finish my time here in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam.
The government has allocated 800 billion shillings for construction of new water projects, as well as rehabilitate and revive stalled projects so as to alleviate water challenges in the country.
Mheshimiwa Rais wetu Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan anajua changamoto za Watanzania, hususan swala kubwa ni maji.
Our president knows our challenges, especially the water problems. She has added money to our budget. We have been given 680 billion shillings, and now we have been given 207 billion shillings, and all this is for solving water problems. There is money I approve of 200 million so that the work can start immediately.
Hadi leo maji yametoka kwenye vijiji 8. Bado vijiji 3 kikiwemo kijiji cha hapa na Idosero, na hapa ndipo wananchi wengi walipo kwenye huu mradi wa maji.
Tanzania Rural and Urban Roads Agency plans to spend 3.6 trillion shillings in the next 5 years in order to build urban and rural roads at tarmac and gravel level, with the Ministry of State and the President's Office for Regional Administration and Local Government, Umi Malim, directing TARURA to ensure funds set aside for this year are directed to areas that need it.
Tunapogawa rasilimali fedha, ni muhimu tukaangalia kigezo cha urefu wa barabara kulinganisha na ukubwa wa maeneo husika.
When we distribute financial resources, it is good to look at the length of the roads and the size of the areas. Let's open the roads. There are councils with large areas, but the roads are not open, and finds it with a short road network and gets a little money.
Livestock keepers in Muruguchida village and Milan Ward, Mbulu district, Manyara region, have complained on a theft of cattle alleged to be taken to Simiyu region and have urged the government to stop the incidents which have caused disharmony and affected incomes of livestock keepers.
Tumeshabaini makambi yote ya uwizi. Na sasa mimi nafikiri kwa sababu tumebaini maeneo ya makambi ambayo ni ya uwizi, na sasa mimi nafikiri watakamatwa na watajisalimisha.
We have discovered all the theft camps, so they will be arrested. Honorable RPC, this is the whole network. It is not just from Simiyu and Karatu. You may find some politicians and leaders on this network. We asked the government to take action.
Nashukuru kamanda polisi mkoa wa Manyara kwa kuja kuwatuliza wananchi kwa sababu kwa kweli hali ya wananchi ilikuwa sio nzuri.
I thank the Manyara police commander for coming to calm the people. The citizens have lost their cool due to the loss of their cows, and we ask you to give us 4 days, they will be found.
And that is all for the national news. International news is next.
Are you ready for some great news? I'm Christine Mundwa.
And I am Eddie Micah Jr. with the brand new DW News Africa,
The show that tackles the issues shaping the continent.
now with more time to offer an in-depth look at all the trends that matter to you.
What's making the headlines and what's behind them?
We're on the streets to give you in-depth reports and insights.
DW News Africa.
In international news, families affected by floods in several streets of Bujumbura, Burundi have urged the government to remove them to safer areas as the rain season is about to start. More than 10,000 families affected by floods are being sheltered at Sobel Mutimbuzi division in Bujumbura.
Ili maisha yetu yaweze kuboreka vizuri, naona serikali naweza kututawanya ambayo ni watu tuliotangulia watutawanyishe ili tufike katika maparasera yetu.
Hatuone kisu tunaweza kujiandaa kwa juu, hatuna lolote, tunaangalia Mungu tu.
Sudan will hand over long-time ruler Omar al-Bashir to the International Criminal Court ICC, along with 2 other officials wanted over the Darfur conflict. Here's more on the report.
Al-Bashir has been wanted by the Hague-based ICC for more than 10 years over charges of genocide, war crimes and crimes against humanity in the Sudanese region. The United Nations says 300,000 people were killed and 2.5 million displaced in the Darfur conflict, which erupted in the vast western region in 2003. The cabinet's decision to hand him over came during a visit by ICC Chief Prosecutor Karim Khan, but it still needs the approval of Sudan's ruling sovereign council, comprised of military and civilian figures.
2 days after President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya held a closed-door meeting with former leaders of the opposition coalition NASA, Deputy President William Ruto has said that he is ready to contest the presidential seat next year, with reports saying President Uhuru Kenyatta is supporting ODM leader Raila Odinga to take over power.
Hawa ndugu zetu wengine wanaweza kujipanga na vyeo na mamlaka, na hiyo ingine wanajipanga, lakini sisi tunawangojea kwa debe.
The World Health Organization, WHO, will test 3 new drugs as potential treatments for people in hospital with severe COVID-19 as it expands its global trial to 52 countries.
The 3 treatments, artesunate and imatinib and infliximab, were selected by an independent expert panel for their potential in reducing the risk of death in hospitalized patients. Artesunate is currently used for severe malaria, imatinib for certain cancers, and infliximab for diseases of the immune system, such as Crohn's disease and rheumatoid arthritis. 4 drugs have already been evaluated by the trial, with results showing that remdesivir and hydroxychloroquine and lopinavir and interferon had little or no effect on people admitted to hospital with COVID-19.
And that is all for the international news. We'll be back with business news after this break.
Into Business Edition and meet business leaders and experts who'll keep you informed on business and economic developments taking place in the country, such as tourism, construction, energy, transport, mining, agriculture, communication, banking, real estate, and more. Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m. only on Capital Television.
Welcome back, and in business news. Energy and Water Utilities Regulatory Authority, EWURA, in collaboration with Tanzania Bureau of Standards, has closed 26 fuel stations after failing to meet fuel standard requirements as well as tax evasion.
Viko vituo hivyo walichanganya mafuta yao ambayo hajalipiwa kodi na yale ambayo yalikuwa yamelipiwa kodi ili waweze kuuza kama nilivyosema.
They had mixed their oil, which had been paid VAT for, and the oil that had not been taxed, and EWURA has taken action against those entrepreneurs, including closing down the fuel stations, and a fine needs to be paid. And we also communicate with Tanzania Revenue Authority to show them the amount of oil that has not been paid VAT for.
The Secretary General of the East African Community, Dr. Peter Mathuki, has said trade between member countries has started to grow after several trade hindrances were removed along border areas.
Biashara imekuwa sababu ukiangalia nchi zetu moja kwa pamoja zitafanya kazi. Na tumeona kwa mipaka yetu, nilizuru mpaka wa Namanga na nikaona sasa biashara imeongezeka mara 6 vile ilikuwa miezi 4 iliyopita. Cha kwanza ni sababu viongozi marais wenyewe wamekubaliana kwa pamoja, na kweli nimeona kama sisi secretariat tumeingilia katikati na kuona ni vipi tutasaidiana na partner states kuwasaidia wanabiashara wafanye biashara.
And Tanzania Investment Center TIC has said during 2020-2021, productivity and investment activities increased and resulted in a growing number of projects registered at TIC.
An investor will no longer need to go ask for these permits at different places. They can get one permit that includes labor and immigration.
Leba pamoja na uhamiaji. Kwa hiyo imekuwa ni kati ya maendeleo makubwa sana ambayo yamefanyika.
That's all for business news. Sports is next.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment and going away. Gay trying to go with him and he's going to be dragged through to second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Opposition, Joaquinho, he did lose some length.
And now in sports. Tanzania's representatives in both CAF Confederations and CAF Champions League will get to know their opponents tomorrow ahead of the new season.
Tanzania will be represented by Simba and Yanga in CAF Champions League next season, while Azam and Biashara United will play in the Confederations Cup. Other countries identified by CAF in the 2 competitions are South Africa, Algeria, Angola, DR Congo, Egypt, Guinea, Morocco, Nigeria, Sudan, Tunisia, and Zambia. Last season, Simba made a statement in the Champions League, reaching the quarterfinals.
Coastal Union defender Hassan Kibailo has said he is in the process of securing a one-year contract extension with his team.
Kibailo's contract has already expired and he has already started talks with the Coastal Union management to extend his contract. The challenge with Tanzanian clubs is that contracts are discussed after they end, hence making it hard for the players to know about their future.
Hakim Ziyech has a serious injury, says manager Thomas Tuchel, after the Moroccan winger appeared to suffer a shoulder problem in Wednesday's UEFA Super Cup victory over Villarreal.
In the scoring, but hobbled off before half-time following an innocuous-looking challenge with ex-Tottenham defender Juan Foyth. He sat in the stands for the second half with his arm heavily strapped up. Ziyech looked to be in quite a bit of discomfort and was given an inhaler-type device to help cope with the pain after suffering the injury on the 39th minute, just 12 minutes after netting Chelsea's goal. The match in Belfast ended 1-1, but the Blues were victorious 6-5 on penalties after substitute Kepa Arrizabalaga saved 2 penalties. Chelsea began their Premier League campaign against Crystal Palace on Saturday.
British number 1 Johanna Konta fought back from a set-down to defeat a third seed Elina Svitolina and reach the Canadian Open third round. Here's the report.
Svitolina looked in control when she took the first set in just 38 minutes. But Konta showed remarkable resilience, winning 8 out of 9 games to take the second set and go a double breakup in the decider on her way to a 3-6, 6-3 and 6-2 win over the Ukrainian. She faces American Coco Gauff in the last 16. A victory was Konta's first over Svitolina, the world number 5 and Olympic bronze medalist. The result and performance was all the more remarkable given Konta was playing in her first tournament since the Nottingham Open in early June.
Rules meaning some Australian Olympians are having to quarantine for 28 days after returning to their country from Tokyo have been described as cruel. Here's more.
Athletes returning via Sydney to the state of South Australia are facing an extra 2-week quarantine. That is on top of the 2 weeks already required for all overseas arrivals. The AOC said while other countries are celebrating the return of their athletes, we're subjecting ours to the most cruel and uncaring treatment. 16 members of the Australian Olympic Committee are already quarantining in Sydney, the capital of New South Wales.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to bring you this bulletin, my name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.
You can watch Capital News live on our social media accounts, YouTube Capital TV and Facebook Capital Television Tanzania from Monday to Friday at 9:30 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe and put notification on.
Ule msimu wa 88 ndio huu. Vituo vyako bora vya ITV, Radio 1, Capital Radio na Capital Television tunakuletea ofa kabambe. Pata fursa ya kutangaza nasi kwa bei ya punguzo kabisa. Nunua matangazo manne ya sekunde 30 kwa upande wa television kwa shilingi $500 na kwa upande wa radio matangazo madogo madogo, yani casual advert manne kwa shilingi $100. Ofa hii ya msimu wa 88 pia inahusisha vipindi vya dakika 5 na 10 kwenye TV na Brand Talk kwenye radio. Kwa maelezo zaidi, wasiliana na idara ya masoko kwa simu namba 0658777144 au 0676777147. Changamkia ofa hii, kwani mwisho wake ni tarehe 15 mwezi wa 8 2021. Vigezo na masharti kuzingatiwa.
Hadithi za kukataliwa na kutengwa na jamii ziliwahi kukufika? Wakati unafikiria, wacha tukazungumze na msichana wa Sekula Zakaria maarufu kama Dora. Ilikuwaje akamfika hayo na amewezaje kuelimisha jamii yake? Mimi ni Hadija Halifa, salia nami. Tayari nimefika katika makazi ya Dora. Wacha tuingie ndani na tuongee zaidi.